This video describes how to make LaTeX files from WorPT. To generate the LaTeX file, click on the button Generate LaTeX Tables. This button appears on all three of these tabs, Personnel and FTE, the Task tab, and the Non-Labor Budget tab. It really doesn't matter from which tab you hit the button. You will see a note up here telling you that the script is running, and when the script is finished, you will see that note as well. You can see now that the task has finished running. Now we want to go to the Overleaf project, select Menu, select GitHub, select the very first option, which is to pull GitHub changes into Overleaf. Never choose push, always choose pull. And then we can close, click anywhere to get rid of the left menu. You will now see a new directory has been created. Do not manually edit. Recognize those words? We just look inside. You will see several files that have been created, each one being a table that will get incorporated into our document. Every time you need to make a change to one of these tables, you make the changes within WorPT. Then you click on Generate LaTeX Table. Then you go to your Overleaf project, click on Menu, GitHub, and then pull GitHub changes to Overleaf, which isn't showing right now because there are no changes that are new that need to be pulled in. Now let's talk about how we get these files incorporated into our document. All of the instructions needed to insert one or more of these files into the Overleaf document are provided in the self-explanatory commented section at the beginning of each file. Copy and paste the blue commented section at the very top, which are the instructions, into your document. The first part of the instructions state what ancillary LaTeX packages are needed in order for the file to be properly incorporated. Instead of providing the individual packages and formatting tweaks needed for each table, I've written LaTeX style files which incorporate all of the items needed by all of the files produced by WorPT. As the work code evolves and possibly new files are generated in the future, I will update the LaTeX style files to include any new dependencies. These LaTeX style files are on GitHub. Follow the link provided here in the instructions. At the GitHub repository, you will find two different directories. If you are using a general class file, pick the general folder. If you are using the AAS class file, then pick the files under the AAS style folder. For now, we will choose the general file. You can either download the files to your Overleaf project, and then from there, you can edit them or do with them however you wish. Or you can link your Overleaf project to the URLs of these files. I prefer the latter method because if updates happen to the GitHub version, those changes will propagate to the Overleaf project. To link the URLs of these LaTeX style files to Overleaf, let's open up one of the files to get the URL of the raw code. So click on it first, just to open up the file, but then you go to the raw button and click on that, and then copy the URL at the top. Go back to Overleaf, and then in whatever folder you want that style file to reside in, you click on the folder name. On the drop-down menu in the three vertical dots, you select New File from External URL, and in the top text box, paste the URL. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that process for the other two files. Okay, I'm back and I have completed that process for the other two style files. So all three are now here. Just taking a peek at the contents of the packages style file, I did try to make comment on particular items when they were directly associated with one of the WorP files. In theory, you could go through and just pull out whatever lines are directly connected to a WorP file rather than using the entire style file. You might also be aware that you might have redundancies or even class file clashes between this file and other packages that you might be using. Return to our set of instructions. We've completed the download of the style files, and now in the preamble of our paper, we need to include these commands. Let's proceed to the second set of instructions. For step 2, all we need to do is uncomment out these lines. These lines are what insert the file into the document. Now that we have completed the set of instructions, let's hit repile and see what we get. And there is our first WorPT table. Note that from these top lines, we can change the appearance of the table by making some columns wider or more narrow, changing the color of the cells, the font color, and any other customization that you typically use. Also, any red font serves as a placeholder to put in whatever narrative might be useful. I'm going to step away right now and magically make all of the other files from WorPT appear here using the same process that we use for this first file. I'm back and I've now put in all 11 WorPT files into this document. You might have noticed from the file names that the files appear to be split out into two main categories: files that are anonymous and those that are not. Anonymous files refer to team members by using team member ID that you assign to them in the WorPT spreadsheet rather than referenced by actual names. Anonymous files are typically required by grant proposal programs involving dual anonymous reviewing. Usually, even in these kinds of programs, an appendix is required where sections like biosketches and current and pending funding status are included by necessity with full disclosure of names. So you may find that you will need to use a combination of both anonymous and non-anonymous, sometimes even for the same type of information. You can obviously pick and choose which of the WorPT files you want to be included in your manuscript, as not all of these will be suitable for all purposes. And if you should happen to discover a need for a completely different table that isn't represented in this list, please drop a line in the comments below describing what you would like, and I'll consider your suggestion in my next revision of WorPT. This lesson has now concluded. Please continue on to the next video, which shows you how each of these files were rendered in LaTeX. It also discusses some of the customization that can be done